May I comment on that? Because I have tried to use that portal or tried to establish access to that portal and over several years, and each time I am dissuaded because in order to access it you must give the system either your full Texas driver's license, your full Texas driver's license number or your full social security number. Ooh. Now, CPS already has sufficient information for my social security number to set up my account. I would have been comfortable in giving them the last 4 digits as they require on their, if you call in to access your account. But I was very uncomfortable in going online and putting my full driver's license number and my full social security number to access that very important tool. And I sent them several messages about how they were discouraging people from using their system because of that uncomfortable feeling security-wise that they required me to follow.
I hear what you're saying. I appreciate that. I think Raul Flores is nodding his head. It's part of the protocol to capture data from a customer in order to validate who you are. I'll say this just from a perspective that we have customers who come in who claim to be so-and-so but aren't really them. And so it's merely to protect your identity versus someone trying to use your account information to either establish an account somewhere else. Or
or just the last 4 digits of the social security number.
Well, we could have you sit with Raul's team in the back to maybe walk you through it to maybe get more comfortable, because they are set up.
No, I'm not going to give any system my full social security number and my full driver's license number. I'm just not going to do it. It's not smart. Everybody tells you, don't do that.
I understand.
And you're following a protocol that goes against all common sense and all consumer education that we're given.
Yes, sir, Sam.
I have an analog meter.
Yes, sir.
And when my smart meter is installed, I run the risk that there will be significant charges by virtue of the fact that my analog meter has not been recording properly. The analog meter is not my property, it's yours. Anticipating significant makeup charges for the past 6 months. Why is that my responsibility? Is not the maintenance of the analog meter your responsibility? And what has happened to your program for maintaining analog meters? Has it been abandoned, anticipating a smart meter coming down the line? That would make sense, but it builds up the amount of money I potentially will pay when you put in a smart meter. So explain to me who has responsibility for the maintenance of the analog meter in my house.
So the meter belongs to CPS Energy.
Yes, sir.
And as AMI has become our standard meter, the analog meter is no longer a product that we service, and this is actually part of that.
You're not servicing?
If you have an analog meter, you test correctly, you're fine. You can keep it. Yes, sir.
I'd like to follow up on this gentleman's question. I believe his question was, can you control my... What was your question again?
Can you control my...
Yeah. And the answer to that has got to be yes, because these smart meters have got flash memory, and so you can reprogram them from your central office, or you can send someone around with a terminal and change the program using an infrared signal, because they all have an infrared port on the front. So I don't think John, your explanation was really true.
Why would we do that? But I think maybe I'll take this a step further to maybe answer your question a bit more thoroughly. Am I able to control the appliances that are inside your home? Is that a question you might have?
More or less.
Okay.
Can you control my meter?
Well,
You can speed it up, slow it down, you can do whatever you want to with it.
no, we will not speed it up or slow it down. Now the question has come up, can I control individual appliances inside your home? Absolutely not. It will not control your refrigerator, will not control your...
But let me give you an example of where I'm getting at. I get a computer. It's a really nice computer. It's mine. I've encrypted it. It's, only I can use this thing. Yet, somebody can turn the camera on in it. They're now saying, put a hood over your computer because it can be remotely turned on. That's my question. Can you remotely do anything with my meter once the system is set in?
I will not have any control over any appliance in your home.
No, that's not the question. That's not the question.
Can I just?
We can read it.
Can I have
disconnect
this
it, and read it.
microphone?
Those
Yeah.
are the three primary functions.
You just read it.
I'd like to, I'm a resident of Shavano Park, and I've studied these things a lot. And like John Marino's, the guy that was here on Thursday night, he said a lot of the capability of this system will not be implemented immediately. They're looking down the road. But the thing that you have to understand, and I'm speaking most of the people who are undecided about this or don't want one of these things, you have to understand that the smart meter is the device that enables them to do all this other stuff. And it is a powerful computer. It has flash memory. They can change the programming that is in the memory remotely. They can turn your power on and off remotely. It has an electric motor inside the meter to disconnect your power. And so they're setting up to do time of use billing and profiling of your energy use and so on and so forth. And guys like John Marino the other night, they're just doing their job. This is bigger than CPS Energy. This is a national thing. It is government intrusion into our lives. And the smart meter is the device that will enable them to do all this stuff down the line. They truthfully can say that they're not doing this now, but they certainly will be in the future.
So let me get to the gentleman's question once again. We can connect your meter, we can read your meter, we can disconnect your meter, only in the sense of normal course of business. To the question of time of use, we do have programs that are completely voluntary. We actually have a time of use rate that's available now. If you want to sign up for Peak Saver or programs that help reduce your energy bill by allowing us during peak summer months to cycle your air conditioner compressor off, those are voluntary. We will not have mandatory programs in place. Our systems right now, our programs are voluntary. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, you just said it allows you to cycle our air conditioning off?
There's a Peak Saver voluntary program that we put in a Honeywell number.
Doesn't that mean you can intrude to our house and actually affect our appliances? That's what you're saying.
This is a voluntary program that if you decide to choose, they can come in and
I can speak to that, sir. Hello, my name is Raul Flores. I'm with customer service, and I oversee some of the demand response programs for CPS Energy. What that means is these programs are designed to curtail energy during peak demands, mainly in the summer. You know how hot it gets in San Antonio. And again, these are voluntary programs. They don't work off a smart meter. They work off of different devices. So for the smart thermostat program, it is a thermostat that can communicate back to CPS Energy to allow us to cycle off your air conditioning to help reduce your consumption. We have a secondary program called Home Manager. Again, does not work off the smart meter. We install devices to your air conditioner, to your electric water heater if you have one, and if you have a pool and pool pumps, you can also manage your pool pumps. You control those with specific portal programs to conserve energy. By the same token, voluntarily, you utilize CPS Energy to curtail some of those appliances during peak demands. Again, nothing to do with our smart meter. They're separate devices that you voluntarily sign up for and allow us to do that to encourage energy conservation.
Where are these devices?
I'm sorry?
Where are the devices?
They're attached to the device. They're devices or controllers that are attached to your air conditioning unit, to your water heater, and to your pool pumps.
It's on the compressor itself?
No, it's, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know the specification, but it's a device that's wired into your air conditioning system. It's also wired into your electric water heater. It's also wired into your pool pumps.
And it communicates via the internet, does it?
It controls by an area network that is part of the program. So yes, it's a Wi-Fi. Sure, sure. Wi-Fi is everywhere, folks.
Yes, ma'am.
Sean, I think one of the concerns is that much of what you're saying in terms of the capabilities of this smart meter that, and in terms of these home management systems, right now the programs are voluntary. I think what's in this room is the concern that, first off, everything that you're saying is not really legally binding on CPS's part, but also what's voluntary today, we know can very easily become non-voluntary in the future. We know that population in this area is growing. We know that the EPA has put all sorts of rules and regulations as to capturing coal, and we know the push for renewables is very real, and a lot of money is being spent in that. You're going to have to pay for a battery system in order to capture the electricity so that we have some at night. Renewables are unreliable. They're not there a lot of time when you need them. And so what is voluntary today, as we move forward where population is growing and resources are being stretched, could potentially at some point be non-voluntary. And I think that's a concern that I feel in the room right now.
I certainly hear what you're saying. It is not our position, nor has it been discussed to be our position at any time in the future that these programs would become mandatory. So as much as I can say today, and in the future, we don't plan on having a mandatory time of use rate for our customers. That is not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to allow you an opportunity, especially in this forum, to decide, is the AMI meter the right meter for you, or would you like to stay with your analog meter? I think now might be a good time to transition to our subject matter experts. We've got a number of people here that are here to talk about specifically about the meters, about power quality, about customer service, about opt-out, and about our network and its encryption. So I encourage you to make your way around. Myself and Kenny Gunn, here in the front in the blue shirt, will certainly act as ambassadors getting you in the right direction. I'm sorry, say again, sir?
Can you have the microphone?
Sure. I'm Peter Warburton. I live here in Shavano Park too. One of the things that, as I sat here listening, a smart meter may be a good idea, may not be a good idea, but one of the things that troubles me is it's touted as something that adds to the efficiency. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But it seems to me that it would be a better selling job if you could address how we're going to save on our utility bills.
Certainly. So the question is how are we going to save on our utility bill? Very, very easily, we'll maintain low rates. So again, talking about this group that's been stood up to capture those efficiencies and repurpose those dollars in other areas of our organization. Because remember, we're not just a meter reading company, a retail company. We're a fully integrated utility. We have a fleet of power plants with over 6,000 megawatts of power. We've got a transmission and distribution system with thousands of miles of power lines. We're a gas utility with thousands of miles of pipe. And we have a number of customers. We have 770,000 electric customers and 300,000+ gas customers. So every dollar that we can squeeze out of that sponge to save money, to repurpose, and to keep our rates as low as possible is where we'll find the most basic bottom line efficiency.
But repurposing, I understand, repurposing means you're going to take meter readers and give them another job, which they don't have now.
Maybe.
I hear you're going to repurpose this and repurpose that. how about returning the savings to the customer? That seems to me to be the best idea. Well, I haven't heard a thing about that. Why?
Well, I think you're not
maintain low rates. If we have low rates now and you can save money, why don't you rebate the customer?
I appreciate your point, sir. I'll be happy to talk with you a little bit further. I'm not dismissing you. I do want to share a number here that Mayor Warner had. Number of current analog and digital meters in Shavano Park. Analog 1,100 and digital a little under 2,300.
To this gentleman's point, you mentioned you have a handful of meter readers, but your meter readers are contractors and not CPS employees. So presumably, when you install all these meters, there's going to be no further contract with Corex or whoever reads your meters. Is that correct?
No, not necessarily. We will still have CPS Energy employed meter readers that we'll need to deploy for our commercial accounts, certain residential accounts, and certain things that are beyond a simple walk to house to house to house employee or contractor. Yes, ma'am.
You have referred several times to the fact that you have low electricity rates, but I think all of us in the room know that it's not just the electricity rate that's the concern in terms of our bills, it's all the adjustments that are added on top of it. There's no transparency in billing on any of those. We have no idea how you calculate those or how those might be manipulated down the line. And I think that's another concern because your rates have to be approved by the City of San Antonio, City Council. But all those other adjustments are just slapped on there and they're significant, especially during the May to, is it September, October timeframe. So that's just a comment.
All our rates are available online for viewing by the public and on cpsenergy.com. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I have my figures correct, but I'm pretty sure that from the smart meter profits, there's $240 million contributed to San Antonio city budget. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you go through.
Talking about profit, let's talk about, that is contributed to the San Antonio city budget from the sales of smart meters.
So in 1943, the city of San Antonio purchased SAPSCO, which is the predecessor of CPS Energy. It was a power, distribution, retail, and transit company. We sold off the transit company, like I said, for $34 million. And think about that, that was a pretty large investment at the height of World War II. As part of that sale, and the city of San Antonio was guaranteed up to 14% of that net revenue. So for the most part, it is a dividend payment, a city return. Not to say that we don't, and we have 31 suburban cities in our service territory, and within each one of those suburban cities, we have existing franchise agreements that we pay the cities the ability to operate within their right-of-way. So it's not like we're not paying Shavano Park, we are paying a fee to Shavano Park to operate.
You are paying a fee to Shavano Park?
Yes.
Is that percentage?
4.5%.
4.5?
Yes. So let's go ahead and transition to the subject matter experts. And we'll continue to have one-on-ones and discussions with everybody. So thank you very much for attending today.